With a changing regulatory landscape, increasing restrictions to data, and over 66% of APAC customers saying they will no longer engage with an organization if they feel their trust has been broken, it's clear that the success of an organization is becoming increasingly dependent on a solid foundation of trust. Now, research indicates there are three key areas organizations can explore to help build and maintain trust, namely 1, delivering personalized and personally valuable experiences, 2, providing a level of transparency, clarity, and control over data, and 3, ensuring the right level of governance is in place to both secure and manage customer data within both a regulatory and ethical boundaries. Now, over the next few minutes, we'll explore how Adobe can help deliver all three of these, but we're going to give some special attention to governance. But let's start with the customer experience, or in some cases, lack thereof. Now, one common problem we see organizations face is the ability to produce consistent customer experiences across all channels. This is where Adobe can help collect all meaningful interactions and attributes and unify them into an actionable profile to then either orchestrate one-to-one customer journeys or segment them into audiences to activate across all applicable channels, thus improving end-to-end customer experience, but also increasing metrics like trust and other important metrics such as customer lifetime value. What does all this mean for things like security, access control, usage control, consent enforcement, and privacy requests? Well, first let's look at security. Now, we won't spend too much time here as this is table stakes, but can happily provide customers with security white papers, sharing details of our secure infrastructure, compliance standards, continuity and disaster recovery plans, etc., etc., etc. So for now, in this session, let's move along to the access and usage controls. But before we do, it's important to talk to one simple but powerful capability within Adobe Experience Platform, which is the ability to label not just data sets, but individual fields, identifying data points as either sensitive, PII, having contractual limitations, or even adding your own custom labels designed for your specific needs. In the example you see behind me, we're actually using colors to illustrate different types of data, from behavioral data, CRM data, call center, or in store, while the symbols represent the depths of that data. So for example, a yellow dot may represent the web page hit, whereas a yellow cross or circle may represent something like an authenticated page with PII being collected. Now, these labels propagate to the unified profile so we can manage who does or does not have access to such data when viewing the profile. Now, outside of labeling fields, we can also label what we call objects, such as segments, to also restrict access accordingly. Now, with our labeling in place, let's now look at some typical personas that may need access to the platform, such as an admin, a marketer, an analyst or data scientist, or even a data commercialization team. Now, through what we call permissions, we can restrict what tools each person or group has access to. For example, an admin may only need access to data sets and sandbox management, while the marketer may need access to the unified profile, audiences, and the destinations or channels they need to activate them through. An analyst may only require the ability to query the data sets and create ad hoc segments, while a commercial team may only need access to audiences and destinations. And just like tools, we can also restrict the data and/or objects the roles have access to. So for argument's sake, an admin may have access to all data, whereas a marketer, analyst, commercial manager may only have access to subsets of that data and audiences applicable to their role. This is what we refer to as attribute level access control, combining both field level and object level access capabilities under which we manage under what we call policies within the platform. This allows us to confidently tick the access controls and the ability to control who has access to what data. Now, as we move on to usage control, much like labeling fields and objects, we can also label what we call destinations, which act as an automated way to control what data can or cannot be activated through them. This flavor of governance is what we refer to as data usage labeling and enforcement, or dual, and allows us to ensure that even if the user has access to the right data, they cannot, even accidentally, use it for the wrong reasons, allowing us to confidently tick the usage control. Next, consent. And while we're agnostic in terms of consent collection and management, we do play a big role in the enforcement of such consent flags across both channel and use case. And much like before, we use policies to enforce usage of data, we can also create policies to enforce multiple dimensions of consent at scale, which allows us to, yes, you guessed it, tick confidently the consent enforcement. And finally, when we look at managing data subject privacy requests, Adobe provides a single unified privacy portal across the Adobe ecosystem via UI or API to make it easy for organizations to manage things like data access and delete requests from their customers, allowing us to also tick the privacy off our list here. So with that brief but hopefully insightful overview, I'm hoping it gives you a good idea on how Adobe helps deliver both personalized and personally valuable experiences, provides transparency, clarity, and control over valuable data, and helps embed automated governance, including security, access control, usage control, consent enforcement, and privacy requests. For more information, please feel free to reach out to me, Ian De Jong, a Principal Strategist here at Adobe, or your local account management team at Adobe. And until then, have a great day.